what are you doing here? Like, why are you here?
Why are you here? Like, what? What is the goal?
What is the point?
There's no answer.
There's no answer. And I think that's what we're meant to believe. So Venus moved into Taurus, and that's delicious. Yum, yum.
That's right where she wants to be.
That's where she loves to be.
Yeah.
Like, ooh,
Feeling it. Are we rolling, John?
Yes.
Oh, so I have a story about this.
Okay.
What I'm wearing, everybody, I'm wearing a traditional Vietnamese dress, which is called an áo dai. And, you know, you might have seen more of this maybe in like the 30s or the 40s, but it's a very traditional outfit in Vietnam. And I actually had this made in Vietnam for me. I went to a tailor at this... it was part of the Silk Road. It's like a smaller city that's like on the water. It's like central Vietnam. And we actually met the dress owner, and she's one of, like, it's a generational shop. And she's like one of, you know, it was like her grandmother was making dresses, so she made them. And you just walk in, it's just floor to ceiling, everywhere, fabric, mostly silk. This is silk. And I was with my besties from childhood. We all had them made for us and took photos with them. I actually also had a dress made too. I have like, maybe I'll bust it out for Cancer because it's very like ocean colored. Anyway, so that's my story, which also feels very Sagittarius.
Yes, it does. The travel of it all.
The travel of it all. The intentional travel.
The travel, and then also like getting into like the history, you know, that's very Sagittarius.
Yeah, wanting to know about.
Yeah, absolutely. The look is looking, honey. If you are not watching on the YouTube, Natalie's look is looking, okay? When I say is looking.
Since we're talking about my look, while we're on the topic, Courtney is giving.
Yeah, I don't
Button up. You look like Little House on the Prairie, but like hipster.
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
This comes from some vintage shop. I have no idea where. I don't know where. Maybe New York. Maybe New York City, but like I have no idea where this comes from. But I've had it for many, many years, and I love it so much. What's the brand? What's the name on it? What's the name? Because she's supposed to be like somebody.
Goon Sacks?
No, what's
by Jessica San Francisco.
No.
Gunne. What do you mean no? She's saying no, like no, I'm reading it.
What is the woman's name?
Gunne. Sacks. S-A-X.
Natalie, stop hitting the mic.
Sorry. You want me to look it up?
No, there's not a lady's name.
It said by Jessica at the bottom, San Francisco.
That's it?
Yeah, that's not enough for you.
No, I feel like that's not right.
Oh, no, this is expensive shit.
Okay.
Look, Goon Sacks Prairie Dress, vintage.
Goon Sacks. Okay, that is it.
Well, you had the Prairie, right?
Yeah.
A retired. Oh, Jessica McClintock.
Jessica McClintock. That's what. Yeah.
Okay, so everybody loved Jessica McClintock. Like, did you ever go to like bar and bat mitzvahs when you were a kid? Like 12 years old?
You know what? I went to a couple because I grew up with a lot of Jewish folks.
Me too.
Yeah, when I was in middle school. That was the prime time for it.
Don't you feel like everybody had like Jessica McClintock dresses? Or maybe I'm thinking about Homecoming.
I guess you're right. Maybe like also like middle school prom.
Yeah, or was there a middle school prom?
I think I had a middle school prom.
Oh,
like 8th grade?
We
have like an 8th grade prom?
What? We did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we did.
8th grade prom, Jessica McClintock.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had a corsage in a picture, and I was wearing socks with my dress. Like, did you ever do that where you'd wear a dress with like high heels, and then when it's time to dance, you'd put on socks?
Oh no! I don't recall that.
Did you put on like cowboy boots because you're from Texas?
Oh, I did wear cowboy boots a lot when I was growing up.
Cute.
But no, I love a good sock and heel now.
Oh, a sock and heel.
Yeah.
I've seen that on you. Mm-hmm. It's cute.
I love a sock and heel. Even better if it's an open toe.
You know what I like?
What?
A sock and Birkenstock. I was on the plane yesterday and I was wearing socks with my Birks.
Yeah, I like socks and Birks too.
Very comfy.
Very, very comfy.
Whoever said you can't wear socks with sandals?
I don't understand that logic.
Like, people are like, oh, it's so unfashionable.
Actually, I think it's very fashionable.
I think it's giving like a look.
I think it's giving a look.
Yeah.
But you gotta really commit to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're doing it half-heartedly, then it can look weird.
Yeah. And I think it's important also for the people listening, because you can't see, Courtney and I are also both wearing pants with our dresses.
We are.
Like, the Audai comes automatically with pants. So there's silk pants, and Courtney's got
so nice.
her hipster jeans.
I do have my hipster jeans.
So, you know, we're giving all sorts of feelings.
We're giving all sorts of feelings.
How was your weekend? I just got into town.
Yeah, you went camping.
Yeah, John and I went camping in the desert in Oregon.
What did you do?
I can't say it on the air. But there's no phones allowed, and you know, there's hot springs. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of music. It's his friend's thing. It's like a private retreat.
Yeah.
No phones. It's very intentional, very about like art and reconnecting to yourself and each other and playful, and everybody's like very deep. Like, you sit down with somebody and you start talking about like what's the deepest thing on your mind right now. You know,
Yeah.
like there's no like, so what do you do for work?
Yeah.
That's not the conversation you're having. You're like, well, I've been working on this part of myself.
Yeah.
Like, things are really shifting for me internally, or I had this, you know. So I always come back feeling like I went through a lot, but refreshed, you know?
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. How
I love
about
that.
you?
What did I do this weekend? You know, just momming. I had some birthdays, Gemini season, so some birthdays, actually.
You got a lot of gems in your life.
Lots of gems in my life. Actually, 2 friends have the same birthday. So,
Cute.
you know, spread it out. So I had a weekend of birthdays.
That's fun.
And momming it out. And that was really it. So it was a nice, chill, fun weekend. Nothing too crazy. I taught some young teachers.
Oh,
as well.
You did teacher training. Mm-hmm.
We did the sutras. We ended the sutras.
Were they into it?
They were into it because I always end the sutras with this practice, an asana practice inspired by the sutras, and it kind of like gets them excited. So
I love that.
So yeah, I think they were into it. You know, 3 and 4 is very like woo. It's very like woo woo. It's very like, oh, here are your special skills. It's very like out there, and so it's kind of fun to chat about the potential of, you know, the mind. So yeah, that's all. That's all. That's it. That's all.
That's all.
That's it. That's all.
That's all, folks. Oh, the phone is ringing.
Okay. Oh.
Do you want to get it?
I will get it. Let me.
I think it's your turn.
No, I'm joking. Well, I mean, kind of, because,
Wait.
you know. Oh, yeah. Here we go. You know, because she's cute, but she is restricted. Hello. Oh, hi, universe. Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh. Well, Nat,
Yeah?
the universe called.
What did they say?
Not too much now. Not too much. Okay.
What do you mean by that?
So that reference is going to be very, very niche. I'm gonna explain it. My fans of Drag Race will get it. But if you don't watch Drag Race, especially All Stars, you might not. If you don't watch Drag Race, you need to.
Okay, I don't.
Oh my God. Okay, listen.
But
okay.
I do. What is it on? How do I watch it?
Yeah, it is one of those. Okay, so I don't know what, like, I think the regular season you can watch just on like YouTube TV or something, but All Stars you have to watch on like Paramount. I don't watch TV. Okay, I really don't watch TV anymore because I will actually probably talk about this a little bit later. There's a few ways that I like to escape, and TV has been one of those ways for me. So I try to limit my television usage.
Oh, otherwise, like, you'll go ham. Like, you'll just watch.
Otherwise,
over and over.
I will just
Binge.
I will binge. Yeah. And I will use TV as a way to like fall asleep.
Oh, I love falling asleep to the TV.
No. I don't mean falling asleep. Like, I won't actually go to sleep. I mean, like, just not be present in my life.
Oh, you mean not actually fall asleep? You mean like disassociate?
Disassociate, yeah.
Well, I mean, who doesn't need to disassociate right now?
I know, but
Just saying.
yeah, it has not served me that well, you know. Anyways, that's a conversation for my therapist. Shout out to Kia. Anyways. So anyways, I watched just a select few things, and as far as reality TV goes, I used to watch like everything, like anything that was reality, I used to watch.
Oh, funny.
Right now, I watch two things. I watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta, because those bitches is crazy. Crazy ass bitches, okay? And I watch Drag Race. Also, some crazy ass bitches. In a completely different way. Also, happy Pride Month, okay?
Woo!
So, I'm watching Drag Race All-Stars right now, and there is this drag queen, Mistress Isabel Brooks. She's in her villain era. Listen, if you know, you know, okay? Mistress Isabel Brooks, villain. Villain, you a bad bitch. But when they're in the workroom, like when they're getting ready for, you know, a runway or whatever, and they're like throwing shade at each other, reading each other, talking shit. Like anytime someone's like coming for her, she'll be like, not too much now, not too much.
Oh, if they're coming for her.
Or if they're coming for her, if they're trying to read her or whatever, like, you know, throw some shade, she's like, not too much, not too much, not too much now. And so I just love that. I love that phrase. It's like her catchphrase. And we'll talk about why it's appropriate for our episode today. But
I love it.
yeah, it's just like, not too much.
Don't overdo that.
Don't overdo it. Don't do too much.
Or is she kind of like, don't cross the line?
Both.
Both.
She's like don't
overstep that.
Don't overstep, because she will come and get you. And honestly, she is known to like
To go.
Like, I would not come for her.
I also like that. I mean, this is me not even seeing it, but I like it that it's almost like so playful. Like, in, you know, like it's not just like, it's not too much. It's like, it's kind of fun.
No. But the thing is, like, she's saying it in a way that feels funny, but also she's terrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, she's giving like, you're like, are you joking, or are you actually like going to steal my voice? She's giving Ursula vibes. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
It's like, oh my God, you have.
Okay,
You have to watch. You have to just look her up anyway. Anyways, but
maybe John can put in a sound clip of
not
it.
too much.
He says no.
I can't.
John, you have to say not too much now.
Not too much. I can't put copywritten stuff.
Oh.
That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably can't pull it up, but
Even probably just your interpretation is too much.
not too much.
Is that gonna be okay?
No, I think
I'll
it'll
put
be
a
fine.
A super cheesy, like, copyright-free something right here.
I think it'll be fine. I don't think she has it copywritten. I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't want her coming for me after what you said. Anyway.
But anyways, not too much, because you know, honestly, we are moving into an era, because she also is like, oh, she's also a drag queen that's always like, I'm in my villain era. I'm in my, I mean,
she's like claiming it.
like, she'll like, you know, a lot of like drag queens will do this, but she will always also be like, no, I'm in my Miss Congeniality era, you know, whatever. It's like, bitch, no, you ain't, you mean.
Oh my God.
But like, we are moving into our expansion era.
Yeah.
With some energy that's trying to push back, but Jupiter will prevail.
Yeah. You know, when we started this podcast, we first made our, you know, like podcast photo, and we put Jupiter above our heads.
We did.
Because Jupiter, for everybody's info, is, I'll quote my astrologer, Petrita Hernandez, who always says, Jupiter is the Santa Claus of the heavens.
Oh.
Like,
Gift giving.
it's gift giving. It's expansiveness. It's like getting all the things that you want, essentially. So I feel like we should set the stage out.
Yeah,
maybe.
let's set the stage.
So where are we at? Sun is still in Gemini.
Sun is still in Gemini. Gemini season.
Yeah, which we already talked about. If you're not sure about Gemini, feel free to refresh yourself with the last episode. But Gemini is an air sign, so we're dealing with this very mutable air, changing air. And then we have Sagittarius full moon.
Sagittarius full moon.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, this is what we're here for. Yeah,
Which is mutable fire, right? Mm-hmm. So
beautiful,
it's
mutable.
polar opposite. And what do we want to? Do we want to talk about Sag?
Yeah. I think we can talk about Sag. But I think a nice way to kind of move into the main event, which is the Sagittarius full moon, is to maybe set up what's kind of surrounding it, the other things that are happening in the sky, that are like bolstering or, you know, supporting this full moon that ultimately will be, you know, again, the main event, right?
The main course.
The main course.
We got
what's
some
on the side?
We got some tapas ready for you.
Yeah, what are the apps? What's on the side?
Well, Courtney, app number 1. We're gonna actually course this out. Do you ever say that to your server at a restaurant? Because I used to wait tables for a long time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I liked it when people would just be like, they'd order things and they'd be like, can you just course it out however you see fit? And I like to do that when I go to a restaurant. Because I'm like, they know what takes the most amount of time. Like, if the salad is quick, send me the salad right away.
Yeah,
and
same.
then I want the bread with it and the olives. And then, you know, anyway.
Same. I would just go, whatever's ready first, send it out. I'm ready to eat.
I'm ready to eat immediately.
I'll order everything, and then like what's ready, send it out so I can start eating.
This is ready. Don't hold me up, because this guy had to get, you know, a double baked something, you know, like a lasagna. Okay, so Saturn.
So let's kind of move out a little bit. So we know the sun is in Gemini, and then we'll leave the moon for now, right? The moon is close to the sun, but we'll leave the moon for now. We know we're coming back to the moon, right? But what's kind of next is Mercury, right? So Mercury just shifted into Cancer. Right, so Mercury was in Gemini, hanging out with the sun, and now Mercury has moved into Cancer, which is sweet.
Seems like a softer side of Sears. Like, it's like the soft side, you know? Mercury is the planet of communication.
Yeah.
So it's like the side that's just a little softer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like holding your hand and crying as they tell you something.
Yeah, it's like it just came out of Mercury, the natural home for Mercury is Gemini, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or Gemini is the natural home for Mercury, or however that goes. They go together. They go together.
They go together like
Is
Is that okay? Probably not.
Yeah,
no, all that's okay. I'm talking about actually playing
Yeah.
their audio. Isn't
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have done movies where they were like, okay, it's a birthday party, but you can only say like 2 words in the happy birthday song, and then they cut because they have to pay copyright.
Right. I think we might be okay. But you know what?
Right.
If we're not,
then we got some good problems. If we're not, then somebody here is worrying about us. I would love that.
If we're not, then that means that someone who's listening actually gives a fuck
About
us. And if that's the case, yo, can you
Give me some
sponsor
money?
us? Hey, we'd like a donation.
Oh wait, can you please be more Cancer when you communicate that?
I just watched the Tonys last night, and Nicole Scherzinger won.
Yeah.
And she was accepting, and it was so like, you know, emotional, but there were like no tears. Not saying that you can't, but she was like crying with no tears, and like, it just
Like it gave you the ick.
a little bit.
So it was kind of like pushing.
Yeah.
Like just talk.
Yeah, a little bit. On Instagram, you know, was feeding me stuff, and I saw a video of her like actually backstage, like crying real tears, and I'm like, I know she actually was so touched, but it was just like, just talk. Like it felt forced, and it gave me the ick.
Yeah, it gives me the ick. I feel like probably what happens most of the time in those situations is they're probably in shock. Not like they're not feeling those things, but like for me, like if I'm surprised, even if it's like happy, sometimes my emotions actually shut down.
Yeah.
Because it's a trauma response.
Yeah. Trauma.
Okay, speaking of trauma.
Okay, so let's stick with the personal planets. Then Venus just moved into Taurus. So we have planets on the move. They raise the
Raise the roof. I do that sometimes when I'm teaching. And
so do I. Okay,
nobody knows what I'm doing.
What do you mean they don't know what you're doing?
Like so many kids are like, huh? Like, I feel like people don't know raise the roof.
How?
Maybe they just think I'm stupid.
They just might think that you're like a crazy lady.
Yeah, that's probably
I think so.
But I think that's cute. We both do it.
I do, yeah. So Venus moved into Taurus, and that's delicious. Yum, yum.
That's right where she wants to be.
That's where she loves to be.
Yeah.
Like, ooh,
Feeling it. Feeling
like
all
feeling
the things. Passion. Like... all the good, you know, if you're not sure about Taurus, listen to our Taurus episode. We talk all about Taurus, but it's like, it's the good things in life. It's good art, good music, good food, good sex, pleasure. Which, add this all up, everybody.
Keep adding it up. Okay, great.
So we're in pleasure.
Okay, so continue to move out. Now we have 2 big ones we'd like to talk about. And these 2 are important because they, this week, actually, are squaring one another. One just shifted recently. Saturn just moved into Aries, which is where it does not want to be.
And Saturn is the planet of discipline, of like... It's like the thing that makes sure you're doing the right thing.
Restriction, rules, boundaries.
Yeah.
And Aries is like pop off.
Aries is like, I want to go
now.
I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
And so imagine the 2 of them
like,
together.
It's like having a leash on your child.
Oh my god, I was visualizing that image when you said it.
Stop.
Like before you said it.
We
are vibing.
No, today is a vibe.
It must be because our outfits match.
Literally, today we are vibing.
Wow, we're psychically connected.
We are.
You ever see that 2 Fridas photo where they're both like this and like, or not photo, painting?
I have that in my house.
I love that painting.
Oh my god, I have that in my house. It's on like a wooden, like a little wooden block. I got it at a Chicago art fair.
Love that painting. I love Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so that just happened a few weeks ago, and now just a couple of days ago, Jupiter, which is so if Saturn is a malefic planet, which is like I don't want to say like negative, because it's not negative. They're all useful, but it's like
Saturn is like, make sure you get things done.
yeah,
Like, make sure you do it.
They're called like it's like a malefic planet. It's just like a more restrictive. It's like follow the rules. Then we have Jupiter, which is a benefic planet, which is like all about expansion and growth. You were just talking about it, the gift giving, right? That just moved into Cancer, which is in a sign that it loves to be in. It's like actually exalted there.
Yes.
It's like its favorite place to be.
Yes.
So Saturn in Aries is actually in its fall, its least favorite place to be. And Jupiter is in Cancer, its favorite place to be. And they are squaring one another, which means a square is like, I like to think of it as like square up. Have you ever heard about when you square up with somebody?
Isn't that kind of like getting ready to fight?
Yep, like you about to fight.
Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, like you're ready to fight.
Yeah, exactly. So when I think of the aspect of like a square, to me it's like you squaring up with somebody, like you about to fight.
Or like you're doing, like you guys are doing a quick shoot where you're like pacing and you're going to turn around and pull your guns out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is.
What is it called?
A standoff.
A standoff.
Thank you.
A standoff?
Yeah.
Yeah, standoff.
I think.
I
Right?
think that's exactly it. So it is a point of contention.
Yeah.
It's like this aspect is like, okay, these two energies, they are at odds. And so we have the planet of restriction is at odds with the planet of expansion.
Which is so we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so all of that is happening.
Yeah.
And then we have this full moon in Sagittarius. What is that? Now, let's get to it. What is Sagittarius?
Sagittarius it's beautiful fire. I think about Sag as like this voyeuristic scholar. I think of it as like somebody who's curious, who wants to travel, wants to learn, wants to grow. They're so expansive and adventurous, but it's not, we were talking about this earlier, so I don't want to like take from what you said, but it's like, what did you say? They're intentional about their travel.
Yeah.
Like they want to study and be intentional about what they're learning.
Yeah.
And learn all about things. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like the planet, or not the planet, the sign that's the, I guess like, I was going to say into education.
They are into education and higher education.
Yeah.
Because they're seekers of knowledge and more. It's like they can't get enough because they are actually ruled by Jupiter.
Yep. So they just expand.
So it's all about expansion. They want more and more and more of knowledge. They want more adventure. They want more experiences. And they are actually really interested in spirituality. And we were talking about this when we were prepping for this episode, that they're interested in spirituality, but in a different way than Pisces is.
Yeah.
Because their interest is really a little bit more about the indoctrination of spirituality and how and the structures of spirituality, right? So it tends to kind of lean more into the study of religion
and philosophy.
Absolutely. And they're really inquisitive about that piece of it.
Yeah. Whereas like Pisces is more into like feeling their way through, like they're in their third eye and just
totally. It's more about feeling, and Sag is more about knowing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I know quite a few Sagittariuses. They're just like, not like I'm like they're serious, but they're a little more, they're a little more like thoughtful about things. They're almost like the Virgo of the fire sign or something.
I would completely agree with that.
You know?
Absolutely. They too do tend to be a little bit more serious. And I think that their discernment is really heightened.
Yes.
Which could cause them to appear to be a little bit more judgmental, because they are, in the way that the Libra is, they are invested in like justice and kind of like not necessarily the right and wrong of things, but like what feels just, like what kind of feels like in alignment with like a higher purpose.
Yeah, they're very thoughtful. And so like a Sagittarius moon, I feel like that is expansive, sure. And like if we're thinking about that from an emotional perspective, it might be maybe a little more, I guess, analytical of a moon, like maybe more inquisitive instead of as much feeling, you know, which is tricky because the moon is ruling your emotional state.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think what's really kind of cool about the Sag is these Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, again, right? It's always innately going to lean into that sense of adventure, that expansiveness, that want, that need to reach out and touch and grow. However, because it really honors integrity so much, there is like within it a boundary that is baked in the Sagittarius. This is what we're talking about of like how it's like a secret and it's adventurous, but it is intentional with it. It doesn't feel in the same way that like a Gemini feels a little bit like it's mutable, but like the Gemini is kind of like all over the place and it's just like flittering. It's a butterfly. The Sag, there is a groundedness almost to its movement.
When I teach a Sagittarius flow, I like to teach like a lot of bow and arrows or warrior 3, like directing, energy, and alignment. Like isn't this pose where you're like holding the foot and then you kick it? Isn't that a bow? What is this called?
Gustasana?
It's you're seated.
Extended. Oh.
On your butt. And then you have your other hand on your other foot and you're...
Oh, I don't know what that's actually called. I don't know what that's actually called.
I teach that pose.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to look that up and see what that is. I oftentimes will teach Dhanurasana because what you're just speaking to is the symbol for Sagittarius is the centaur.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the centaur is actually carrying a bow and arrow in the symbol. Right. And so that is what you're speaking to is that the centaur and
Sagittarius rules the legs too.
I looked up the centaur once, and the centaur is oftentimes carrying a bow and arrow, right? And I think that's what you're speaking to is this mythical creature that is, you know, purposeful in its like warrior spirit.
Yes.
Right. I think this is a really beautiful and organic way to shift to the teaching.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the bow and arrow. We're talking about kind of this innate quality of intentionality that the Sagittarius holds, even within its expansiveness, which is this practice of brahmacharya, which is the teaching of the week. Brahmacharya is the fourth yama. And again, we've been talking about the yamas so much, but just for our new listeners, if you're new out there, welcome.
We love you already.
Welcome to our new listeners. Hello.
Hey, girl.
Hope you stick around.
Write us a review.
No, seriously, write us a fucking review.
Honestly, I do think if you're okay with it, we should read one of the reviews.
Oh my God,
do you want to do it right now?
Yeah.
Expansion.
Hey.
Jupiter and Cancer.
Pause.
There was one that I really liked listen, I like them all, but it was like a new one.
Okay,
so
let me listen to it.
I wanted to read it actually. So y'all, if you review our podcast, then you might get famous.
You might get a shout out. You might get a shout out up here.
Okay. I can't believe there's finally a podcast fusing astrology and yoga that's accessible, yet deep, funny, yet sincere, and I can't think of two better hosts than Nat and Court.
We read this last time.
No.
Yes, we did.
No.
We didn't?
Nope.
I heard exactly what I needed to hear today, which is the more you resist control, the more pain you're in. Keep it coming, baby. Also, if you're in LA, you must take their classes at One Down Dog. Lightning bolt emoji 3 times. That's what that looks like if you're watching. So, thank you, KFlow88. We love you. That's a really sweet review. And it's interesting because I do think it's just like anything, like anytime you take a yoga class, it's so interesting what people come up to me after class and hear.
I'm like having the craziest deja vu. I'm sorry, this is what's happening.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
Where like they'll be like, oh, when you said this thing, and I was like, I said that? Like, I didn't even know that I said that, you know? And I do think that, I don't know, like we can all take what we need from something. And even just to go back to like me going on this like little retreat that I went on last weekend, it's like I get something new. This is my 4th year going. It's like I get something new every time I go, and I get kind of what I needed.
Yeah.
You know? And so much of that is you, the person receiving, meeting the person offering, and I don't know, there's something magical that happens when we're offering and we're ready to receive, which feels very Jupiter to me, because then we can expand.
Sorry, I just had the craziest fucking deja vu, and
Courtney's
that
tripping.
was wild, and also just tripped me the fuck out because, you know, some would say that deja vu is when you are getting a affirmation, validation that you're on the right path.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
You know, because like if you like, some believe that you kind of write an outline of your life before you get here, like a really light outline, and you might drop like little nuggets of like when this, like, oh, you know, when at this point in time I'm gonna, like, literally this moment will happen.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fucking random ass moment. This is, how will I even know that this moment is happening? It's a random ass moment, but it's like, okay, you know what? At this point, because I'm going to be starting my podcast with Natalie, and like, I'm going to just go have this deja vu moment to be like, you know what? You're on the right path. Fucking weird. I'm sorry. And then you're talking about like the moment happening right in the moment, and and it's like,
You're
what is
still
happening?
having it?
No, I'm not anymore, but I'm just like that. All of that was like, I'm like, what is, I'm sorry, that just tripped me out, all of it, because it was like what you were saying in addition to me having the deja vu was just too,
That's overwhelming.
it was too much. What
Are you
the
okay?
hell? I need a breath. No, I'm good. But
Yeah,
that was just like,
sometimes that can
that
be
was so
trippy.
wild, because it was like not just a deja vu of like, oh, somebody like I'm just walking down, but like the deja vu moment was also a very like, was a deep moment too, which was like made it extra
juicy, extra all of it.
extra juicy.
Do we like that?
Do we like what?
Juicy?
The word juicy?
Yeah. Do we like juicy?
Oh, you know what? I love the word juicy, but in a class, I always feel weird about using it because I'm
too.
like, then you start thinking about your body excrements, and I'm like, and I'm just like, that's weird. But I do think that it is a very descriptive word, and I like it. But I
Yeah.
also feel like most people don't, so I don't use it.
Same.
But I like it.
I like it, but like for myself.
Same. High five.
Good for us.
Okay, so the yamas.
Like you're like, get into a juicy pigeon. It's like,
yeah.
are we talking about butt juice here? What are we talking about? What kind of juice? And then I think about other, you know, anyway, I think about WAP, you know? It's too much. Can't say it in class.
My friend's in a band called Sweet and Juicy, and they dressed as a banana and a strawberry.
That's different.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's nothing to do with butt stuff.
Anyway, moving on.
So the yamas.
So to go back to the yamas.
The yamas, okay, so the yamas is the first limb of the 8-limb path. The 8-limb path, some would say, is the path to enlightenment, to liberation, to samadhi, the state of
map.
flow. It's a map. It's a
guide.
guide. It's a practice. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifelong practice. But specifically the yamas and the niyamas, right? Because those are the yoga ethics. And the yamas are how we interact with the world or with anything outside of ourselves. Mm-hmm. Got it. So the fourth yama is brahmacharya. And brahmacharya is classically, traditionally interpreted to be celibacy or abstinence. Mm-hmm. Brahma is, the root word Brahma is a priest.
It's part of like the caste system in Hinduism that takes you to the priesthood, which is like the highest form.
Sure.
The highest place to be.
But we more like modern yogis would interpret it to be like moderation or restraint or... Mm-hmm. Natalie and I have been really kind of thinking of it in this context as intentional use of energy or precision.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if we're talking about it in terms of like yoga asana, you know, because like I think a lot of people that listen to our podcast are yoga practitioners or yoga teachers. So it's like, especially if we were going to talk about it in a class setting or teach a class, it's like, I think we can think about it off the mat, but if we're thinking on the mat, we're thinking like, how do we not maybe go too much or too little, and how do we direct our energy with integrity and intention, and maybe creating more of like a container quite physically with the body as well.
Off the mat, I think there's a few things that we wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
And I think we can go broad and then kind of come in as yoga usually does. Yoga usually works gross to subtle. But going a little bit more broad, just thinking about the energies of the universe right now, right? So Sun is in Gemini, right? This is Kiki season, right? It is like a time of socializing, of like being in, community, and the mind also maybe being overworked, right? So there is potential for us to maybe feel a little overwhelmed. There is potential for conflict, internal and with external bodies or forces. There is potential to react rather than respond, right? Because of that Gemini energy. And also, as we're seeing, right, the Saturn in Aries is kind of squaring the Jupiter, right? So the Jupiter wants to bring in this really helpful energy, right? This like energy that's like lovely. But the Saturn is kind of pushing against it and causing a little bit of conflict. Also, there's a lot of energy that's like yummy. I was gonna say juicy, but like yummy.
Say juicy, you can say it here.
So there is also, while there's potential for things to get a little spicy, there's also potential for us to overindulge. We have that Venus in Taurus, we have that Mercury in Cancer, and we have that Jupiter moving into Cancer. So like we might be feeling like, oh shit, it's a breath of fresh air. Let me like eat all, like let me eat all the chocolate. Let me eat all the pasta.
Let me have all the sex.
Let me have all the sex. Let me drink all the liquor.
Let me go into the deepest pigeon there can be in class.
Let me do it all. So like there is potential for us to just go for it. And so this practice of brahmacharya allows us to just be more mindful and intentional about the use of our energy and be really precise about how we're using our energy.
Yeah.
To create a little bit more of a container and to create healthy boundaries so that we don't burn out.
Yeah.
Or so we don't, say something that we might regret, or so we don't do all of the things that we kind of want to do, and at the risk of losing, connection with our spirituality.
Sure. So there's integrity.
Or spiritual practice or integrity, right?
I mean, also like our last episode with the Gemini new moon, we were talking about focusing our mind because in Gemini season, I don't know about you, but I definitely am like, I need to start this. I need to do this. I need to do that. It's like, there's a lot of new energy coming in, which is fun, which is exciting. But at some point we want to contain it. Otherwise, let's think about like if we're blowing up a water balloon and it's expanding and it's watery, it's expanding, eventually that shit's going to pop.
Yeah.
So Iyengar, who was a very famous yoga teacher who brought yoga to the West. Also a problematic person, I have to say.
Problematic.
Very problematic. So,
many of them are.
But also at the same time, he's a Sagittarius. At the same time, a lot of...
Many of them are. No,
many of them Don't go at us. Many of his teachings, there's a lot of really good shit in there. He has Light on Life, he has Light on Yoga, he has all sorts of books that I think there's a lot of great things that you can pull from it. Mm-hmm. So I always like to mention when I talk or quote people that are problematic, that it's problematic. There's some abuse of power and stuff like that. It's pretty terrifying. Anyway, all that being said, I feel like I shouldn't have said that before I give a quote.
All that being said, I'm going to quote this man.
I'm going to quote this man, BKS Iyengar. When you extend and expand, you are not only stretching to, you are also stretching from. And that is something I like to talk about a lot, but it's like, so when you are, let's say you're folding into Janusirsasana in a seated forward fold, as you're reaching forward, not only are you stretching somewhere, but you feel where that starts from. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about integrity. And I think that it keeps us from overindulging, overstretching, right? So it's like, you're like, there's a stretch. I'm going to hold it and see what that's like. And then if there's more space as I go, I can go, but I don't have to.
Right.
It's kind of like, do we have to go all in all the time? I'm teaching brahmacharya right now in class, and it's like, what's the middle way to do something? What's putting in, we've talked about sukha and stira before. It's like that effort and ease. Like, what's the way that we can do this that is trying something, but it's not overdoing it?
Yeah.
So that you could do it again maybe and not blow your load, you know?
Yeah. I was teaching brahmacharya last week, and the way that I was working on embodying this practice was binding or half binds or using the body as a container, but specifically working towards Dhanurasana. We were talking about bow pose, or we were talking about the bow and arrow earlier, the centaur. And another way that the bow and arrow shows up is in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is gifted a bow and arrow, but a bow specifically from Varuna. And its purpose is to eliminate the ego. Now, I don't know about completely eliminating the ego. I think the ego can be useful if we have a healthy relationship with it. And I was talking a little bit about how Gemini think of Gemini being kind of the ego, and us using brahmacharya, the practice of brahmacharya, as that practice that is harnessing the ego, creating this container or this healthy relationship with the ego. But it's essentially, you're grabbing the ankles and you're kicking back, right? So you're kicking into the hands to open the heart. It is a heart opener.
Yeah, and just for the folks listening, just so we can mention Dhanurasana, it's a back bend on your belly. So you're in a prone position, and then you're bending your knees, reaching back with your hands and catching your ankles
or the tops of your feet.
Of the feet.
Yeah. And you're kicking back to lift your heart. So you are looking for expansion in your heart. The purpose is to expand.
Yeah.
But to find that expansion, you have to respect the boundary. You have to find integrity in the container, within the container, to expand. You need both.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like something to push against in order to do it. Like, it helps you to lift it. I mean, anytime that we are creating a bind with the body, we're also creating a lock in the body, which, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the two are working together and against each other at the same time.
It reminds me of something you just said. There's freedom in discipline. And this particular pose really, that to me is a perfect example of that. That bind is the discipline, right? It is that intentional use of our energy, but within that, you start to experience, explore, and cultivate the freedom within that.
Yeah. And I mean, just to piggyback off of that, I also think a lot of backbends are very similar. Like, if we think about dancer, if we're reaching, I mean, it's essentially a standing Dhanurasana, right? A single leg standing one. You're kicking your foot into your hand, and then it helps you to expand and lift up. You know, anytime that we're, like, say a camel, it's the same thing. We're creating this kind of restriction against the ground to lift up. Because in order for us to expand, it takes a lot of energy, centering, and I do think trust. But hopefully it's like trusting your body that you're going to be okay in this posture.
You have to establish integrity first to trust. It's like we talk about this with kids. You know, like a child, they will feel more free when they feel safe.
Yeah, they have like a healthy, if you create a healthy boundary for your kid, they're going to feel more safe when they want to go out and try something. Because they're like, oh, I know that Mama's watching. And she's making sure that I'm not going too far.
Yeah.
Like kids actually like that.
So you establish that that container, you establish that integrity, you establish that safety first, and then from there you can start to explore and test the waters, and that's where that freedom and that expansion starts to come in. You need both.
Yeah, you need both.
You need both.
I feel like so much, like every time that we have a conversation, you and I are always like, we need both things.
Absolutely.
Like we need a balance. I mean, gosh, yoga is about balance, I guess.
I mean, it makes me think so much about, it is Pride Month.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, and it is really a time of celebration. Pride is, I actually looked up the definition of pride because I'm teaching about pride this week.
Because she's got the integrity, folks.
A feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, accomplishments, or closely or achievements of those with whom one is closely associated with, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. But it's a feeling of pleasure, right? There's of satisfaction. There is goodness, right? That is felt with pride. That is expansion, right? There is expansion that is inherent in pride. It is a celebratory time. It is a time of abundance. But to get here, there is quite a bit of work that was required to get here, and there is still a lot of work. Right? There's still a lot of work.
Just to even go off of the definition of the word pride that you mentioned, it's like in order to feel proud of something, you did some shit to get there. You know?
You're proud of your achievements and your accomplishments, right? That
yeah. And that didn't happen just from like a one-time thing.
That implies that you were working, that you were doing something to get here. Yeah. And now you can celebrate that.
Now you can look back on the work and go, I did that, or we did that.
Or we did that
in that case.
Or we did that in that case. But there was discipline that was required.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get here, to be able to have a Pride Month.
I mean, Pride started as riots, or not riots, I should say protests, and, had to transform. But it was like a lot of change and a lot of sacrifice went into the rights that were gained for queer folks in this country specifically. And we are in a time, and Courtney and I don't like to get in the weeds about politics too hard, but we do have to talk about it because we're talking. Yoga is something that's relatable to the world.
Absolutely.
We're not doing yoga in just this bubble that doesn't exist with the outer world, and in this administration that we're in, which is turning into authoritarianism and fascism, right? Very quickly, it's more than ever. The things that are important in Pride, like the sacrifice that was made, all of that, those events that happened, really, they matter even more because we're close to losing it.
Absolutely. We're close to losing it. And in so many ways, moving backwards, not just, for the queer community, the LGBTQ plus community, but for so many communities, our right, I'll even say our rights, because, as a Black woman, a person who is absolutely a part of a marginalized and oppressed community, our rights are being threatened, quite literally. I think here is where this precision comes in, where we talk about brahmacharya being intentional use of energy and precision, like that bow and arrow, right? The archery of it all. It's absolutely, we have every right to be fucking angry and devastated and terrified. And also, it is going to be required for us to be disciplined and continue to show up and be really precise with our energy. Because if we show up and we just go blah, and then it just dissipates.
Yeah,
and there's nothing to do. There's nothing we can do with it, right? It's just all over the place. So now is the time more than ever to be extremely mindful and intentional with what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
As we show up for ourselves and each other.
Yeah. And like, just to continue on this conversation, to shift it into what has just started to happen in LA, and I know it's happening in other places in the country, is the ICE raids. Obviously the complete outrage and fear and everything that's going on in our community right here, right now. As we begin to protest, as, the president is sending the Marines and the National Guard. I mean, this is escalating very quickly. And, who knows where it's going to go once even this airs in a couple days. But it's like, there's a breaking point.
People be fed up.
And we're only human.
Yeah.
And you push people to a breaking point, it's going to break. There's only so much that can be taken. And I mean... We are dancing right at that line right now. It is a really, really unprecedented, scary fucking time to be alive in this country. So with that being said, like, I'm there with you. Court and I are there with you. Whoever is listening and full of fucking rage. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're with you.
I think take care of ourselves and just try our best to lean into the goodness that is showing up for us right now with that Venus and with that Jupiter. We want to end on some sort of like good high note. We want to end on some sort of because there is some goodness that is showing up for us. Jupiter in Cancer, Venus in Taurus, it is here for us. And so, finding ways to take care of ourselves with the madness that is happening, making sure that we are also preserving our mental health and our physical well-being as well. So finding that balance too.
Sure. Yeah. And like today, my class was about offering a peaceful presence to yourself. Yeah. That doesn't mean that you can't feel what you're feeling, but I'm like, but giving yourself moments of peace in the midst of the chaos is key. Is that it?
I think so.
Y'all, that's it. Thanks for listening and watching. We're so grateful that you're even listening. Yep. It's so cool that you're here. And
we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you think about everything. So feel free to comment, write us a review. Our email address, should we give it to everybody in the show notes?
Sure.
Here? It's theuniversecalledpod@gmail.com.
Email us.
Email us something. Let us know if you want to hear anything. And make sure you subscribe.
And follow us on Substack because we have bomb playlists that we release with every new and full moon. They're fire. So
they're really
You can get the link on our Substack.
You got to subscribe to the sub.
You got to subscribe.
We also write journal prompts.
We do.
And so this could be hopefully your moon ritual. Every new and full moon, we release an episode. And that's all to say that our next episode for our Cancer new moon, we are going to have our first guest.
Oh my gosh,
Should
we're
we
so
talk
excited.
About it?
Yes! Preview. Oh, but it's a surprise. We shouldn't tell them who it is.
Oh, okay. She's buttoned up. It's Brahmacharya season.
Surprise, but you have to tune in.
You got to tune in.
Yeah.
It's going to be very yummy and
so
Cancer
good.
And, watery. No pickle this time.
No pickle. We miss you, pickle.
All right. That's a wrap. The Universe Called Podcast with Natalie Burtney and Courtney Sauls. Filming and editing by John Meyer. Theme music by Chit Cray, Studio Inertia. Special thanks to Donna and Robbie Falks.